Our practice is hard and tedious, and we welcome distractions that come to us randomly or that we create intentionally. It is for those distractions that take us away from the work that we vow to begin, that we vow to engage in, and that we vow to continue. This work of rooting out the self that is built upon suffering, and oh yes, it is all built upon suffering, and that is all the deep and dark things buried deep in yourself that you've never admitted, and not even admitted to yourself at times. But it's all these things that create suffering within ourselves and that radiate outwards and create suffering externally, at times for others. And this is our practice, to dig deep, root out all the lies, all the little things that we did, all the things that we said that we dare not admit even to ourselves. Yet if you have the courage to admit what you have done, admit all the secret things that you dare not even think about, that you would dare not even tell another, and you bring that to the light, you bring that to the forefront, you bring that to the mind, you bring it upwards, you let it surface. You then expose those lies to the Dharma, to the truth. You expose all those things submerged. And that is when you liberate them. They no longer hold power over you. They no longer bind to you and create that little bit of self that you call yourself. And that is the practice that we so engage in. It is long and it is tedious. And we cling to distractions. We cling to these little notions of self. We cherish them. We hold on to them because we're scared. This false self that we would call ourself, it believes in this phenomenal world. It sees its existence through this phenomenal world, through all the distractions and myriad things that come and go. And yet, when threatened with the aspect of enlightenment, this false self runs and it hides and it burrows deep. It clings hard to all of the small things, all of the tiny aspects of unconfessed, untold, unspoken secrets that we hold deeply in ourselves. This is where suffering is harbored and where suffering is cherished. For you see, that self uses suffering as a mirror to see itself and becomes terrified to let go of the mirror of suffering. Your future enlightenment is already preaching the Dharma to you. It always has been. You just never heard it. Meditation is a means to center the mind, to still your thoughts, to not cling to the extremes, to sit in the middle of a volatile sea, in that position of neutrality, that position where you can see the sea, and you're not caught up in the seas and the swells, the ups and the downs, the extremes. When you achieve this middling, for a moment, you can hear the Dharma. And this may be called samadhi. This may be called a jhana. This may be called many things. And even if for 1/10 of a second you hear the Dharma spoken to you by your future enlightenment, immediately the path is laid out before you, and you take the one step towards your future enlightenment. You're taking one step forward of becoming Buddha. This is a very terrifying practice, for the self, the false self, the illusionary self, will make up any excuse to not practice, will make up any excuse to go back. It will lie to you. It'll bring up things about yourself that you don't want to see and threaten you to even expose them further if you continue on this path. It'll haunt your waking moments, your sleeping moments. It'll be like a thief, a robber. It'll do evil things, even threatening you. That is why in our practice, we have to help one another, to remind each other of the goal, of the purpose, of why we're doing this. For Buddhahood, it is not that hard to achieve. It's just a matter of being brave enough to achieve it, having the courage, having the stamina, having the will to become Buddha. Of course, the false self will tell you it's not true, that it's a lie, that there is no Buddha, that there is no enlightenment, that all there is just this, so get over these childish notions. That is what the false self is telling you. And if you are weak and succumb to this, we will fall back into the myriad of things. And that little aspect that has listened to the Dharma, that saw the enlightenment, will always remember that moment. And perhaps in some future rebirth, aspect of knowing will come back up again. Perhaps later, in another rebirth, maybe a few hundred more down the road for you, you'll come back to the Dharma.